Hi, guys. I know it's weird that we're not in class together and that doing vocab is a lot easier with me explaining the words and going over the definitions with you and showing you images to help you along. So I made our slides presentation this time so that it has sentences and images and everything to help. I should tell you that this presentation is going to be in at least two parts, maybe three, because the app that I'm using to be able to talk to you while you're looking at your vocab words only allows me to do that for 5 minutes at a time. So make sure you look at all the parts of the presentation, not just the first one. So this is vocab 7 for us, which we would be doing on Monday if we were together. So we're going to do it together on Monday, just not like we usually would. And I've got 10 words for you this time that have to do with writing because we're going to be working on argumentative writing. And a lot of these words might be words you've heard Mr. Roboto use in class or you've heard me say sometimes, and we'll be using them a lot more for the last trimester of the school year as we work on that. So I want to make sure you know what the words mean when I use them in the assignment. So your first word is persuade, and you might already know what it means to persuade somebody to do something, but persuade is a verb, and you're trying to convince somebody of something. You're trying to get them to believe what you're saying. People do a lot of persuading during elections, right? Because you want to get people to vote for you. So the example sentence I gave you is, I keep trying to persuade my students that hippos are the best animal. So, I'll give a lot of evidence and try to say, hey, this is the best animal and you should believe me and here's why. Hasn't worked so far, but I keep trying to persuade people to believe me. People sometimes will try to persuade each other about pizza toppings or ice cream flavors. It just kind of depends on what you're talking about. But when you're persuading, you always offer up some evidence to convince somebody. So I might say, hey, hippos are the best animal because they're super cute and they can hold their breath for 6.5 minutes. But maybe people don't care about that. So it doesn't work to persuade them. But when you're persuading, you got to make sure you offer up that evidence. So here's a visual that I gave you, trying to change someone's opinion, right, by giving reasons. So these two guys are arguing over frogs being the best pet or not a good pet and, giving examples why. So that's just an image to help you understand persuade. So another word that we'll be using when we talk about persuading and arguing is defend. So you probably know defend like with a shield and a sword, right? If you're defending somebody from something or if you have to defend yourself from something. But in this case, we're talking about defend with writing. So if you're defending your argument, it means you're writing in favor of something, you're supporting it, you believe it to be true. And the example sentence I gave you is you have to defend your opinion in your essay, which is true. You will have to defend your opinion and provide some facts to support that. Okay. So it's just like if you were defending yourself, you can assume somebody wants to attack your opinion, just like if somebody were to attack you. And in any case, you have to defend yourself or defend your argument in order to make people believe what you're saying. So the visual here is these two guys arguing, right? And the first guy has the point and then the counterpoint, which is somebody arguing back. So the guy with the point is trying to defend what he's saying and make the other guy understand why he's right. Doesn't always work, but you have to try. Next up is summarize, which is also a verb. We have a lot of verbs this week. And it means to pull out the important points. You've probably been asked to summarize a story before. And when we did our scavenger hunt for the Junior Scholastic magazine, one of the things you were asked to do was write a summary sentence, a main idea sentence. So this is kind of the same idea. The example sentence I gave you is summarize the story you read in only 3 sentences. If you can only use 3 sentences, then you have to really pull out just the important points. You can't waste time on little itty bitty details. You've just got to hit the highlights, is what I like to say when I talk about summarizing. And this is a great visual, I think, because it shows you the sum in summarize stands for shorter than the text. Use your own words, main ideas only. So that helps you kind of remember when you're summarizing what you're being asked to do. Okay, you put it in your own words. It's always shorter than what you read, and you only get the main ideas. So just so you know, and you can probably see this in the bottom of your screen, this is going to end in 25 seconds. So there'll be another video coming. Make sure you keep listening. So predict is our next word, which is a verb. And that's when you make a guess about something that's going to happen next in the story. Sometimes your teacher will ask you to predict, like, what do you think is going to happen next? And you have to use some facts from the story in order to do that. And it's sort of like looking into a crystal ball kind of in the future.